Okay, fam, welcome back. All right, so we're going to be talking about when we plan on taking profits during the crypto bull run. I know a lot of people are probably thinking about this. They're like, well, is the crypto bull run actually going to start? Are we actually going to go to all time highs? Look, nothing's a 100% guarantee, okay? I mean, there could be a recession, sure. That's always possible, but I don't see it as being likely. I think that truth be told, I think everything will be fine. And, I'm expecting Bitcoin, based on what I've showed you in the past, to go to all time highs, probably starting next month. Whether Bitcoin's actually going to be at all time highs next month, I don't know. Usually it goes to all time highs in kind of November, December timeframe. But then again, we've had the spot ETFs get approved, and that kind of skewed things a little bit in terms of the timing. But because of the fact that we've had kind of like a 6 month consolidation downwards in a bullish pattern, in my opinion, that gave the crypto markets time to reset to be able to allow us to properly, basically, moonshot for the crypto bull run at the same time that we did last cycle. Okay, so October, November, December. It's usually around election time, which again, elections is the same exact year as the year of the halving, which is also the same year that Bitcoin usually goes to all-time highs on its epic bull run that we see every 4 years. So kind of what I'm thinking, looking 12 to 15 months out, okay, because I think the peak is going to be somewhere between like the top of the crypto bull run is going to be somewhere between 12 to 15 months out from now. Again, usually those 3 green years that we talked about, the third year, which is the last and final year of the bull run of that particular cycle, always plays out post-halving. Okay, so it's the year following the halving event. That's usually how this plays out. So yeah, basically sometime around the end of next year, probably October, November, December timeframe, we should see Bitcoin hit its final all-time high, and crypto, or the altcoin market, basically be topped out, and then we should pretty much dump from there into 2026. And whether 2026 is going to be a bear market year for stocks or not, I don't know. That's kind of a toss-up at this point. I still think that next year is going to be bullish for stocks. But I am fully expecting the crypto bear market to take place in 2026. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, we could go to a $500,000 or $1 million Bitcoin. Could it happen? Yeah. I don't see any reason why not. I mean, when the gold ETFs first got approved, after the first gold ETF, gold went up for almost 7 years straight. But gold is a different kind of it's a different kind of asset. Okay. So gold, I mean, technically there's an infinite supply. I mean, there could be some out there floating around in space. We don't know because we can't get out there yet. But basically, the supply of gold is controlled by the people in the government. Okay. That's just the reality because, they allow people to go buy and sell land in like gold mines and stuff like that. And basically, however much is mined or not mined from the earth is determined ultimately by the people that own the land that choose to mine it. Okay, and the authorities that decide whether they should be allowed to have access to that land or not. Because again, some of the land in the United States and other countries around the world is government owned. So going onto it without authorization is technically trespassing on government property. Everybody knows this, especially people that are ex-military that work in civil service. They all know this. So basically what I'm saying is, even though the supply of gold is limited, it's technically unlimited because we don't know how much is in the earth. Okay, with Bitcoin it's a different story, because with Bitcoin there is no unlimited supply. You can't mine more than 21 million Bitcoin. 21 million ever is all that's going to exist. And Bitcoin technically has operated on 4-year cycles. Gold is more of a fear trade. Okay, so gold is basically, pretty much what I mean by this is gold is like it's an anti-economic collapse play. Okay, so when the dollar is going down and risk on assets are going up, gold goes down as well, because, and other precious metals, because again, um, gold is meant to be a hedge against inflation. It's also meant to be a asset that generally appreciates as economic uncertainty takes place. Okay, because if the dollar collapses, goes to zero, there's only a handful of assets that are going to be worth anything. Okay, real estate will still be worth something. Um, you got things like your weapons and ammunition, foods, skill sets, precious metals, some limited scarcity value assets like art, and maybe cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum would be worth something if the economy just went to absolute garbage and the dollar went to zero. Okay. Do I think that's going to happen? No. So, yeah, like I said before, in terms of gold and silver, I'm basically expecting those prices to drop back down, become deflated as the recession fears abate and we go back into a normal QE bull market, normal QE economy. The price of gold and silver is likely going to come back down again. I mean, again, if you take a look at history back in 2008, 2009, that was the last time that gold and silver took off to the moon. And as soon as the recession at that time was over, it basically dropped back down to the floor, and you could buy it for cheap. Premiums at the shops were essentially nothing. That's why I've been holding off from buying gold and silver, because I think it's overpriced. Doesn't mean it's not a valuable asset. I'm just not willing to buy at this time because it's too expensive. So, and in terms of having a recession this time, I mean, guys, the data doesn't support it. I'm not seeing it. Now, whether the data is manipulated or not, that's a different story. But the bottom line is, the reality based on what I see things, a recession is extremely unlikely. Okay. And again, we're in an election year. Politicians don't want this because it looks bad, all that stuff. Okay. So back to crypto, going 12 to 15 months out. Here's what I'm thinking. Okay. So we are going to load the boat as heavy as humanly possible. Roughly, I would say 80 to 100% of discretionary capital is going straight into crypto. Okay. So it will be going into call debit spreads on crypto stocks. It will be going into native cryptocurrency. It may go back into the Grayscale Trust if we still have time and still have the capital to do it. And also probably as well, perhaps even some of the crypto dividend paying stocks. But so we'll do that through the end of the year. But once we get to around the middle to the end of December, either that or if Bitcoin is at or above 75,000, we're going to immediately stop buying cryptos, because again, the idea here is that once Bitcoin gets past this all-time high, that's when things are going to go parabolic, and the retail FOMO, they're going to come in, they're going to be like, yeah, everything to the moon, ape everything, diamond hands, all that stuff. We all know how this goes. And we don't want to be the ones holding at the top. I mean, you guys can do what you want, but I don't want you guys to be holding at the top either. Again, not financial advice. I can't tell you what to do with your money, but do you really want to hold your crypto bags down 80, 90%? I'm not saying these are not long-term investments, okay? They just got to be long-term investments at the right price. And when crypto is going to all-time highs, I don't want to be the guy that the whales dump on. Okay, so I think this descending channel, we're going up in Q4 of this year. We're going to hit all-time highs. So the plan that we have is to basically accumulate as much as humanly possible between now and the end of the year, roughly about December 15th to December 31st, somewhere in there. Stop completely accumulating and then look to exit our positions at the profit targets we're looking for. And then basically, when we get out, it kind of depends. I can't give you a definitive date because I don't know. Okay, we just have to wait and see how the crypto markets play out. But once we get out of our positions, as we're scaling out, we're going to scale more heavily into dividend paying stocks, options plays. So things like call debit spreads, may even learn to do some credit debit spreads, but probably mostly call debit spreads, put debit spreads, depending on the situation. But I'm not a bear. Okay, I'm a bull. So probably call debit spreads. We're going to do dividend paying stocks, monthly dividend paying stocks. maybe perhaps even some quarterly at some point. We're going to focus more on passive income, and we're also going to do cash secured puts and covered calls on positions that we think are worth doing the CSPs and CCs accordingly, depending on what the charts say. And we'll basically do that for the entirety of the remainder of the bull run and or the crypto bear market, because I mean, the thing is, once the bear market starts, it usually lasts a while, and I'll show you guys this on the charts later. It lasts a while between Bitcoin's peak and the altcoins peak and the times that they bottom out. It's usually a while before that actually happens, okay? And we don't really want to be buying from the top and scaling all the way down, because I mean, you can do that, but we just don't want to do that. We would rather, like, I'll give you an example. So last cycle got entirely out of crypto 100% by January of 2022. Why? Because it became obvious at that point. Well, actually, December 2021 and January 2022, we got entirely out of our crypto and stock positions, 100% sold everything, okay? Because it became very obvious at that point that we were going into a bear market, especially with crypto, so we sold everything and then sat on cash for roughly about 6 to 7 months. Did essentially nothing until right around June, July timeframe of 2022. So Bitcoin went from 70,000 down to roughly about 25,000. That's when I decided to start getting in. Turns out I was actually early. I should have waited a little bit longer, because Bitcoin actually went down to 16,000. So it got cut nearly by another third in price, and altcoins went down a lot more as well, but we still ultimately made money, but we didn't get exactly to the bottom. So there's a gap between the bull market top and the bear market bottom, and generally speaking, we don't want to accumulate during that time frame. We would just want to sit on stable coins or cash, do absolutely nothing, or use that money to build passive income while we're waiting for the bottom to come in. Then we want to get in at the bottom, okay? Like, for example, what Ethan told you guys, you know, and again, I'm not quoting Ethan here, okay? I don't know exactly verbatim what he said, but more or less, you know, he gave you guys the cue back in, I think it was like the middle of last year or something like that, or late 2022, or whenever the bottom of LTC and BCHG is, to get into those prices. Again, that sounds correct to me, okay? When these bear markets are brutal, okay, they will absolutely destroy people that don't know what they're doing. So, you know, when Bitcoin goes down 60, 70, 80%, you know, no offense to the guys at BlackRock and all those institutions and all that stuff, but you know, all these wealthy investors, they're gonna learn the hard way when in 2026, when Bitcoin drops from whatever it is, 220,000, let's say, down to 80,000, or not 80,000, down to like $30,000-$40,000 Bitcoin. They're gonna learn the hard way that, you know, you can't just throw your money at the markets without experience, without really truly understanding and living this industry, and think everything is just going to work out fine. That's not going to happen, okay? I can't guarantee it's not going to happen, but unless they know what they're doing going into this, they're going to get wrecked like every other retail investor. So, and again, we'll talk about when the bottom is, okay? We'll talk about when the bottom is in an entirely separate video. We'll go over that. We'll go over how to position, what to look for in terms of finding the bottoms, generally good times to start scaling and more heavy, how the whales would trade it, like how I would trade it if I was one of these crypto whales or Bitcoin whales with thousands or tens of thousands of Bitcoin or tens of millions of dollars. Okay, I'll show you how to do all that stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what we plan on doing, is just taking the money out of crypto before the peak of the bull run, getting out completely, cashing out, taking profits. Because again, you know, you can have the juiciest looking portfolio in the world, but if you don't hit that sell button, what's the point, right? And crypto is not like stocks. Crypto is very volatile, very up and down, kind of all over the place. It doesn't generally just go up for, you know, 100 years straight. I mean, it could. At some point, it could gain such a high level of adoption that it does. But in my opinion, I think the bear market, the 4-year cycle bull bear markets are still in play. Okay, and I think in 2026, a lot of people that think this thing is going to go up forever are going to get a rude awakening, and it's going to drop. You know, Bitcoin's going to drop 70-80%. Alts are going to go down 90 to 99%. People that are holding the bag, they're going to wish they didn't, and they're going to have to wait 4 years for their positions to go back up, if they even do. And I'll tell you guys right now, a lot of people that buy alts with the intention of making like stupid gains, like 50-100% gains, usually when they sell their positions, they move the money over into Bitcoin. Me personally, if I was going to sell alts and buy Bitcoin, I would not buy Bitcoin at the top. I would sell alts, sit on cash or cash equivalents like stable coins or something else, and I would wait to get as close to the bottom as possible. Then I would get into Bitcoin, because again, Bitcoin is always the first mover, okay? Bitcoin goes up before the rest of the market does. So I'd look to get into Bitcoin, and then I would eventually cash out of Bitcoin once it got close to its previous all-time high. I'd probably get out of it and look to position into some altcoins going into the bull run. That's how I would do it. So yeah, we're basically just going to cash out of our crypto 100% at one point. Get into mostly passive income assets. In terms of like capital growers, we'll do things like swing trading, day trading. We may do some, what is it called? Poor man's covered call, where basically you do a leap option and then you sell covered calls against it, going like a leap option going like a year or two out. We'll do a lot of call debit spreads, and also the wheel strategy on certain stocks that we think are going to go up massively, and monthly paying dividend stocks of different kinds. We may do some like business development companies, closed-end funds, REITs, because REITs and financials generally benefit as the Fed cuts rates. We may also do, once the bottom for Bitcoin and crypto has come in, after the 80% drop in the bear market or whatever, when it happens again, I think that's far out. That's like more than 15 months away. But we may also get into some Bitcoin related dividend ETFs, like we might get into BITO, BITX, Maxi, things like that at the bottom of the at Bitcoin's next bottom. Okay. So we'll do that, build up the passive income. Again, by then we should have more than enough passive income to be completely 100% financially free and abundant, and just be looking to position into crypto going into the next bull market once the bear market bottom has taken place. So that's pretty much more or less the plans for the next 12 to 15 months. Hope you all enjoyed this content. Again, I will see y'all later, and you guys have a great and blessed day. Okay? Adios.